What's up out there? Welcome back to the Halloween Horror Movie Marathon of 2022. This is week 2. Now, the first movie that I watched this week was Nope from 2022. It's directed by Jordan Peele. I did not know the two main characters. That was Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer. I'd never seen them in anything before. If I have, I don't know him. He plays the quiet brother, and she plays the really over-the-top sister. You know, they're kind of balanced. You know, one's quiet and one's over the top. Some would say annoying. I actually like both the characters. I thought they were really cool. The other characters, or the other cast that you would know, is Keith David. He was in for such a brief moment. I always forget he's in The Thing because I always see him in movies today, and he's really older, a lot older now, and then versus The Thing, which is when he was really young. And I always forget that he was the guy that was in The Thing. So it's always, it's like having Alzheimer's. I always remember that he was in it. I'm like, oh yeah, that was him. He got such a bit part. It kind of sucked. I really wished he was in it for longer, but he's in for like 2 minutes and then he's gone right off the bat, and it kind of sucked. You'd know Glenn from The Walking Dead. Who is he? He is Steven Yeun. I just know him from Glenn from The Walking Dead. I only watched a few seasons of that, but I remember him being in it. I was like, man, he looks familiar. And I looked it up and I'm like, oh yeah, that's dude from Walking Dead. And then Michael Wincott, you'd know him from Alien 4. He was the captain of the little ship that met with the military ship. He was also the bad guy in, The Crow. So good cast. I mean, really good cast all the way around. There was a dude that was some Fry's electronics guy. I don't remember him. He was kind of sort of annoying. I didn't really hate the cast. I really liked a lot of the cast. The problem I had with this movie is I think I went into it thinking it was going to be this massive, awesome movie, and it was good, but it wasn't like, oh my God, this is a great, greatness movie. I think like I've liked Get Out and I liked Us, but I think Jordan Peele makes more of an homage to his movie, to stuff that he grew up with. That's the way I see how he makes his movies. And this one, I would say, go into it with as little knowledge as possible and just enjoy what it does. I went into this looking at it like the rating on Letterboxd is like a 3.9. So I was thinking, well, it's a 4-star movie. And really, it's not. It's just a high-punching 3.5-star movie. So not that that's bad, and star ratings or whatever, but it kind of gives me an indication of what I'm getting into. And I had higher expectations for it, not because of the star rating, but because of Jordan Peele as the director. I've liked everything he's done. Us was a little, I need to revisit that one. I thought it was a little derivative of other things. But this movie here, like Get Out was kind of similar to some other movies that have been made. Us was similar to a lot of other movies. Nope is similar to a few movies that I'm not going to get into because it's still fresh and people probably haven't seen this. But it does its own thing, and I really like the way it does. It's kind of one of those things that you see it and you're like, man, I can't believe somebody hasn't done this before. But it's not such an amazing film that I would give it like 5 stars or 4 stars or something like that. It's really good. I did give this one 3.5 out of 5. Watch this one on Vudu. It was an extra movie. It's one that I didn't have on my list. This is on my potential list because I wasn't sure if I was going to get to it or not. Made in the US, and I definitely recommend this. If you're into sci-fi and kind of horror-ish type things like that, this was good. A little bit more into the sci-fi, a little bit less into the horror, but it was good. It was solid. I really enjoyed this. So that was Nope from 2022. Now, the next movie I watched is another adder. This is Maneater from 2022. Now, when I bought Nope, I saw this one sitting there, and it was for like $5 to $6, something like that. You could rent it for $3 and buy it for $5 or something like that. It was just a couple of dollars more than the rental. And I thought, you know what? If I actually like this movie, I'd probably watch it again. I love aquatic horror. I love horror from space. I love, aquatic type stuff because they're kind of similar. Space and under the ocean and all that's kind of similar. Shark movies and stuff I really like now, depending on the movie, but I looked at this one and I said, this is going to be a really bad B movie. So it could be either horribly boring or just fun. Now, this was directed by Justin Lee. The cast to note, I mean, there was a lot of different people in there that I recognized from different TV shows and stuff. just like their face or whatever. I didn't really know them from anything in particular, but the ones to note was Trace Adkins, of all people, is in here, and Jeff Fahey from like Lost and whatever. He's been in quite a few things. So I saw those guys and I thought, man, this movie's probably not going to be too bad. So I'd give it a shot. This is another extra movie that I put in for this marathon. I left a bunch of spaces open for stuff like this that I could just throw in there. There's the movies I picked for this particular categories, and then there's extra ones that I just was going to tack on. Watch this one on Vudu. It is made in the US, and I gave this one 2.5 out of 5 stars. So this movie is kind of weird. Like, Trace Adkins' kid gets killed by a shark, so he goes to vow to kill the shark and everything. And then there's these people that they're hard to pin their age down. The one girl talks about being just out of med school or something like that, but they're like in their 30s or 40s. Like, they look older, you know, they've got almost as much gray as I do, and they just looked older. And I think because they were an older cast, they delivered things a little better. Like, there was no annoying characters. There wasn't anybody I hated. There wasn't anybody I wanted to see just die off fast. And it was a fun group of people. And I don't want to say it was sad to see him die, because everything kind of just happened really quickly. But this is a quick-paced movie. Yes, I would recommend this one. It was a fun movie. Trace Adkins did a great job. He kind of overplayed his character a little bit, but in a fun way, not like a grossly overacted way. Jeff Fahey was in this, and that's about all I can say about him. He had a kind of a bit part, but he was in there a little bit more than, I don't know, he was not a whole lot, but you know, he could have been in a lot more. But the cast was good. The movie was fun. Bad CGI effects, but it was one of those that you just sit back and enjoy it, and you know it's going to be bad, and I would definitely watch this again. And if you're into shark movies, yeah, I'd recommend this. So that was Maneater from 2022. Okay, next up is Goodnight Mommy. This is from 2022. This is also an extra movie that I threw on the list. It was directed by Matt Sobel. Cast of note is Naomi Watts. This is an extra movie, as I mentioned earlier. I watched this on Amazon Prime. It's on Prime, so like you don't have to rent it or anything. It's just on Prime. It's a U.S. movie, although this is a remake of an Austrian movie, I think. I gave this one 2.5 out of stars, and I would not really recommend this. I saw the trailer for this, and it's about two boys that go to their mother's house, like their mother and father are split up, and they go to the mother's house, and she's wearing a mask the whole time, and it's like a mystery of why she's wearing it and all this. So there was some really cool parts that just didn't ultimately go anywhere. Like, there was definitely an ending. It's an ending that is very close, flies very close to another movie that was made famous by its twist and all that. I don't really want to say anything if somebody's going to watch this, but it's not what you think it sort of is, but it's sort of not. And it's a straight up ending. And I don't know. The whole mask thing didn't go anywhere. Like, it just didn't go anywhere. Like, I thought there's going to be some massive secret behind it, but it was just a mask for a mask's sake, basically. And the story kind of went and took a turn, and I was like, you know, I really wasn't feeling this one to begin with. And it wasn't a bad movie. Like, it was made really well. I didn't think it was, I've not seen the original, but I didn't think this was a bad remake. Like, it didn't feel horribly mangled or anything. It felt okay. It just didn't feel like a good story. It was okay. I don't want to, like, the movie was shot decently. The acting was good. The story was okay. Like, it wasn't horrible or anything. Like, there was no major, it wasn't extremely boring. It's just that all the cool things that you see in the trailer, the mask and all that, and I don't normally watch trailers, but I was trying to see what was coming out for Halloween, and I watched this big long, I don't know, some channel I follow on YouTube has just big hour long things of nothing but trailers. And I watched one for horror movies, and this came up on that. And it just, the trailer didn't excite me and the movie didn't excite me. So 2.5 out of 5 stars. That is Goodnight Mommy from 2022. Okay, back to the actual list of the movies that I created. This one is The Jaws of Death from 1976. This was directed by William Greff, and the category is William Greff. Now, I did not know any of the cast on here from anything else. The one guy, I think I've seen the name appear here and there, but I don't really know any of the other cast that was in this. Watch this one on Amazon. This one I had to actually rent, and this is made in the US. I gave this one 2.5 out of 5 stars. This wasn't a terrible movie. For something made in the 70s that came out after Jaws, this actually did a lot of fresh and different things. Like there's a movie called, I think it's called Grizzly. It's basically Jaws, but about a bear. So the bear takes the place of Jaws, and they kind of recreated a whole bunch of the scenes from Jaws, but with a bear. Now, this did not do that. This has sharks in it, and it does certain things, but it is not a Jaws knockoff. I wouldn't even say this is even close to Jaws. It's got sharks in it, and that's about as close as they get. The guy has this medallion or whatever that kind of gives him some special magical voodoo powers or something to talk to sharks or whatever. And he basically, people are going to poach sharks, so he goes and kills them. So he's kind of like a serial killer with shark pets and stuff. And he'll go kill the shark or kill the people, drag them into the water, maybe stab them, hang them or something like that. And like he does some cool things here and there. It's definitely a 70s movie. Like if you've seen very many 70s movies, whether they're horror or not, this is definitely a 70s movie by far. So it's got that vibe to it and everything, and it's got that style. I don't want to say a timeless style. It is a 70s movie. The clothes, the cars, the way they talk, the way they act. It takes place in Florida, I think, and there were some cool moments in this, but ultimately it was kind of definite props for doing something fresh and different. And also, they were actually swimming with these sharks. Like, I don't think there was a fake shark in the whole bunch. And they weren't doing the whole, we're going to put a piece of glass there and let the sharks swim around. They were actually out hanging on the things and swimming around with it and stuff. Like, it was really intricate to what they were doing. Compared to, like, Jaws used a mechanical shark, or like the movie I mentioned earlier, Maneater, which used CGI and stuff, which, I mean, that didn't exist in the 70s, but they didn't put fake sharks in it. They actually put real sharks in this. And I thought it was pretty fantastic the way they did it all. Now, maybe there were some props and stuff here and there. I don't know. But for the most part, the stuff that they filmed was pretty cool. Anyway, this was the Jaws of Death, and I gave this one 2.5 out of 5. Okay, the last movie that I've watched so far is another one from the list, and this is Studio 666. This is made in 2022. Directed by B.J. McDonnell. The cast of note was Foo Fighters and a bunch of other people that I'm not going to name, because if you want to watch this movie, you'll want to see their cameos. This is the category of musician or band, which I actually filled with that Maneater movie and Trace Adkins, so I've got it taken care of twice. But I watched this on video. I'd been wanting to see this for a while. I was kind of iffy on whether it'd be any good or not, but I really wanted to see it. Made in the US. I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 stars, and I would recommend that if you're interested in it, watch it once. That's probably all you're going to want to do. This is a passion project by the Foo Fighters, and it's got the whole band in it. They go to a house, they're going to make a video or make a new album or whatever, but then there's demons and stuff that comes around. And the movie's fun. There's some really cool kills if you're into gory type stuff. There's some really good kills in there. You could probably YouTube them up and just watch the kills and move on. But the movie itself, the cameos were great. I really liked several of the cameos because I was like, oh, I know who that is, and it was just fun. The downside is this was a little bit long in the tooth. Like, this movie went on for a lot longer than it needed to. There was a lot of David Grohl going nuts and just having these weird meltdowns and just going bananas and stuff. And I don't know. I just didn't really dig that whole aspect of it. Like, there was a few times he was just a little bit too hammy and cheesy and a little bit too much. And I enjoyed the one watch of it. I thought it was cool to see the cameos. I thought it was cool to see some of the people he pulled in. The one person that told him not to steal his song was awesome. I thought that was great. A few of the characters that I really liked. It just went on for too long. It was a little bit slow and boring in times because they drug things out. They could have tightened this up a lot, made it maybe a half hour less. It had a good pace to it. It's just that they drug certain scenes out so long. And it just got boring after a little bit. And I was like, I'm kind of over this and I'm ready to move on. But they kept going with the scene. And I was like, well, if you'd cut some of that out, it'd have been a lot better. So I don't know. Anyway, that is Studio 666 from this year, 2022. And I would, if you're interested in it, I would rent it and watch it once or catch it on streaming service, and that'd be it. So that is the movies that I've watched in the last week, and I'm going to edit this video and then go watch some more. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.